Thanks, Adam, and congratulations to VMware and Gail Burgess and Charlene Thomas. What a great group of leaders and very impressive group of leaders. And so again, congratulations to you all. You're so deserving. You know, one of our today's content sessions focused on social justice in the workplace. It's a topic that means a lot to me. And I'll tell you one of the reasons why I got involved with Converge is because I think we have a deep responsibility in TAG to make a difference in our community. When social justice became a rightful place in the household, in the boardroom this spring, TAG stopped. And I remember having this conversation with Larry Williams, and I said, before we can go out and service a community, we have to do our own homework. We've got to look inside of TAG and see what can we do. TAG also paused to assess its own organization in that moment and in that time. And as a result, Jeff, the TAG board chair member, he said, and Larry Williams, and they got together and decided this was an important topic for TAG, and that we had to be different and we had to look in the future what TAG was going to bring to the table and to the community and to the organization. And that's why I got involved with Converge. When I think about this organization in terms of being an inclusive organization and really want to focus to take TAG into the future, it is about the D&I. It is about the Converge, bringing everyone together in the technology community and in our communities and being engaged in our communities. We got together as a result of this, and we decided that TAG needed a social justice committee that would ensure that TAG was doing all it could do to be inclusive in the community and in the organization. This committee reports to TAG Executive Committee and represents the TAG board. Roy Hadley and Stacie Hagan, they stepped up to the plate. They are the chairs of this committee. Roy and Stacie are here today to share the great work that they've been doing. I'm so appreciative of the work that they've been doing. It means a lot. And they want to talk about their early findings and what's the plan to go forward.
Hello, and welcome to an overview of the Social Justice and Equity Task Force. My name is Roy Hadley, but I'm joined today by Stacie Hagan, who is the former Chief People Officer at SecureWorks. We both are on the board at TAG. I'm a lawyer here in town at the law firm of Adams and Reese. Thank you for joining us, because this, just like the Converge Conference, is a very important part of what TAG is doing to address social justice and equity, not only within TAG, but also in our broader technical community in the state of Georgia, and also, quite frankly, across the country. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Stacie to just kind of tell us a little bit more about why we're here today and what we're trying to accomplish. Stacie?
Yeah, thanks, Roy. It's a pleasure to be here with you and talk about this really important task force. First of all, a little context setting. Why did we start this initiative to begin with? I don't have to explain to anyone that's logged into Converge that 2020 has been a year of tremendous challenge and a lot of change. The impacts to our economy, the way we work, the way we live, our health and safety concerns, and now with the social justice issues that have been in the forefront, like the unfortunate death and killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, we are really finding ourselves in an environment of a racial reckoning. And TAG recognizes the importance of addressing this constructively and being a part of the solution, not standing back and waiting. So we think it's time for change. We want to be a part of it, and that led to the decision to put this task force together.
Right, that's right. And the task force was put together, TAG got together and said, what can we do to really lead in this area and not just follow, but to really kind of shape the conversation? And so the leadership of TAG got together, the board, the leadership, and said, let's form this committee, this task force, to really address these issues and to start those conversations. So over the summer, the task force was formed and began to meet and really to map out kind of a strategy for how we should address these conversations.
Exactly. And as we really started those conversations, we recognized we need to start with a foundational set of definitions. So let's just back up and tell you a little bit where we have landed there. First of all, social justice, it's a concept, but it's about fair and just relations between an individual and their society. And it is often measured in terms of the distribution of wealth and opportunities and for personal activity and for social privileges. This is a basic definition that is commonly used, widely accepted. We think it absolutely meets the intent of what we're trying to do here. There are also 5 commonly held sort of attributes or principles of social inclusion. They are, first of all, access, that people have access to the resources and opportunities without that being encumbered by socioeconomic status, race, or anything like that. Secondly would be equity, that we're eliminating the systemic barriers to equitable distribution of resources and opportunity. Diversity. A key component of social justice is making sure that we are inclusive of the wide variety of people that represent the communities in which we work and live. And another one is participation. So social justice isn't about one group doing for another, right? It's about people of all types having an opportunity to participate in decision-making that affects them and their well-being. And finally, that sort of 5th principle that we think is important in guiding our work is human rights. Let's recognize that social justice is a human rights issue. We need to protect and honor the rights of diverse people. And when there's a breakdown in social justice, it's a humanitarian crisis for all of us. And that's one of the things that really motivated us to act. It's the right thing to do.
Absolutely, it's the right thing to do. And it's more than that. You know, in addition to those 5 key areas that Stacie set forth, the leadership of TAG, the task force, understands that social justice, inclusion, equity, all of those things, really, diversity, really contribute to innovation, contribute to moving the ball forward collectively. And so the leadership firmly believes that this is an important task that we should all collectively undertake. And, you know, it's a big task, and we realize that. We realize it's a big task, and that, you know, all of these things, you can't move the mountain unless you move that first pebble. And so we're going to move that first pebble, and we started that process. You know, what we're doing, we're looking and we're seeing, okay, because it is such a big task, let's understand it, let's unpack it, let's, you know, prioritize and see where we need to work first. What can we do to start the conversations? What can we do to start, you know, having an impact in the community, both, again, within TAG and in the state of Georgia, in the technology community, and in society in general. Again, it's just a big task, but TAG is committed to it, and we firmly believe, the leadership firmly believes, that it is an important task for us to do.
Absolutely. And so in those conversations, we've said, what's the unique impact we could have, and where should we start first? What is it really time for now? And we arrived at a mission that this task force for TAG is about advancing social justice for people of color in Georgia's technology sector. And I want to expand on this and say we are very intentional about the focus on race here. We recognize that diversity includes much broader definitions than race, but when we look at the events of in the forefront in 2020, but really that have been present all along, our awareness is heightened. We probably should have been aware and acting all along, but let's make sure that we grasp this opportunity where we can influence the communities in which we work and really try to have an impact for people of color in the Georgia technology sector. Still a big challenge, though.
Right. Big challenge, and it's a big challenge just within TAG. I mean, TAG itself has over 30,000 members. We have 26 individual societies. We have 5, statewide chapters. But that said, there's a great opportunity within TAG to increase our leadership and the diversity in our leadership. And as Stacie said, we're being very intentional about race here, because when you look at the statistics, that's where the problem is. And when you start talking about social justice, that's really the conversation that we're talking about, even though other groups and other areas are important. We are being very intentional so that we can focus our efforts here in terms of what we're doing.
That's right. That's right. And the numbers you gave, Roy, around the size and scope of TAG are a big deal item for us, because that's a powerful group. And so we think that TAG, by its size and the leadership engaged in TAG, that we have the potential to influence one another and to overall impact social justice in a meaningful way. Not overnight, but we see the opportunities to influence, for example, in helping our companies and our membership understand what you were saying earlier, Roy, about the link between diversity and innovation. With diversity of thought comes innovation, which comes economic growth. This is what we're all about. And if we can share those best practices across the companies that are a part of TAG, where one company has learned how to improve in this area benefits another. And so our task force has really looked at how do we leverage and influence, and are there specific areas of action that we should focus? And we kind of came up with 3 to get started. The first one is to make sure we practice what we preach inside of TAG, okay? So that's kind of a given. I think every organization in engaging in these conversations is saying, let's look at ourselves first, our membership, our representation at all levels, in all groups, societies, the board, et cetera. Participation and access at our events that we host for our members. So really practicing what we preach was the first thing we wanted to focus on.
Right. And, and it's a little bit more than that. In addition to practicing what we preach, we are going to be very intentional about increasing the number of people of color in leadership positions. We're starting with TAG. We're taking a very close look at our societies, at the Big TAG board, the chairs of societies, and really being intentional about creating those pathways to leadership in TAG. We're also going to help, as Stacie said, kind of accumulate those best practices and share those best practices so that our partners out in the tech community can also share in creating those pathways to leadership for people of color within their companies. And it's more than that. It's, also looking at the diverse tech community, those small, mid-sized businesses that are run by people of color, and saying, okay, how can we engage them to bring the resources that, they need to grow their businesses, the resources that they need to thrive in their particular business enterprises? Because the statistics will show that typically businesses that are owned and run by people of color or minorities typically hire more minorities in their businesses. And so, kind of creating an ecosystem where we can help those businesses is also part of the mission of what we're trying to do with the task force.
Exactly. And it's back to those key principles that we talked about: access, participation of that diversity. So we're really trying to keep those principles embedded in everything that we do for the task force. So I hope the Converge audience logged in is excited about what you hear, because we really would like you to get involved. And there's a lot of ways to do that. This is a great time to step up and get involved. First of all, I know that most people in our TAG membership are engaged in one or more societies. If you're in a society, make sure social justice is a part of your society charter. And if you don't feel like you're equipped to do that on your own, we have a diversity and inclusion society that is housed with a group of experts that are passionate and ready to assist. Invite them to your next meeting and get educated so that you can figure out what you can do. Also, in your own outreach for the organizations you work in and for the parts of TAG that you're engaged in, keep in mind, it's about all of us reaching out into the community and inviting a diverse population into our conversations and into everything we're doing.
Right. And, you know, I think the key point here, and Stacie, as we kind of close out here, is we're going to be inclusive here also with the task force. So what we understand and recognize is that we can't do it alone. So what does that mean? That means that we need you to help us. We need you to share your best practices. We need you to, you know, engage with us to help drive these issues to the forefront and drive meaningful engagement and meaningful action. Here at Converge, these types of topics have been at the forefront purposefully, and it's part of TAG's mission to really drive meaningful change around social justice. So again, on behalf of Stacie, myself, and on behalf of the task force, and on behalf of TAG, thank you so much for listening today. And again, we truly hope that you engage with us in this meaningful purpose. Thank you.
Wow. So I want to say to Ron and Stacie, thank you for the, for the work that you're doing with the committee, serving TAG, the social justice. I just remember when we first started the task force, and those conversations, as most of you know, are very difficult to have. And we as a board decided that we were going to have those very difficult conversations. I just remember having conversations with Larry on the phone, and and feeling the passion that he was feeling also with change. And I think that's what I was talking about yesterday, that you have to lead in this moment, even when we're in the middle of a crisis, even when it doesn't feel good, even when you feel uncomfortable. But what I am so grateful for at TAG is that leaders stepped up, even outside their comfort zone, and was willing to put everything they had into this committee, because we knew how important it was for TAG, but most importantly, we knew that we needed to do it for the community in which we serve. And so I'm forever grateful for, Stacie and Roy. They've really kind of been the foot soldiers on this, and we've been following and been working together. But you guys have put a lot of work into this, so I know that TAG thanks you and the community thanks you for, stepping up, diving deep, and then rolling up your sleeves to say this matters. TAG members matters, the community matters. And so you guys have done a fantastic job, so I can't say thank you enough. And also, too, I want to give thanks to Larry Williams. I would tell you, I probably gave him the most tough conversations to have with me. And, I challenged Larry Williams, and he took that challenge on. And, and he is what I really, really say. For TAG, we're very blessed and fortunate to have such an inclusive leader. This was an important thing for Larry as well. And so he took on a lot of tough conversations with the board. And so we're so grateful for what you have been for us as a leader, is that you stepped up, rolled your sleeves up, and you got dirty with us and had those conversations. So thank you. And so on that note, we're excited about the TAG's Social Justice Committee on the things that we're going to be doing and moving forward and going to be committed to. And so thank you again for everyone who's on the board, and then thank you for everyone who's had given input and participated. It means a lot, so we're very grateful.